Here is the first setting of Victor Charles's life when he was born on February 3rd, 1938. The President of the United States was Franklin D. Roosevelt and was in his second term of office. And British Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain made an agreement with Adolf Hitler letting him to occupy Czechoslovakia for the purpose of keeping world peace. And it was only a short span of time later before World War II broke out. Actress Bette Davis had her new motion picture, It's a Love I'm After, playing on the silver screens. And actress Joan Crawford also had her new film, Mannequin, plastering her beautiful face across America that same year. Victor Charles's future mentor, Craig Knoll, had acted in John Van Druten's play, The Distaff Side, at the Oglo Theater, a short while before Victor Charles came into the world 2 months and a day before, on December 2nd, 1937. Victor Charles's other mentor, Father John R. Ahern, was ordained a Catholic priest 4 months and 4 days after Victor Charles's birth on June 7th, 1938. Victor Charles's two parents were 31 years old Victor Francis Buono, and Myrtle Bell Keller Buono was 28 years old when he was born. My father, Louis Michel Erreca, nicknamed Sonny, was 11 years old at that time in 1938. My father's mother was Myrtle Bell Keller, who was first married to his father, Louis Rupert Erreca, who was in the United States Navy long before Myrtle Bell eventually married Victor Francis Buono. Victor Francis, Myrtle Bell, and my father Louis Sonny lived with his parents, Frank and Rose Buono, at 4023 35th Street in San Diego, California in 1938. Frank and Rosa also had their 20-year-old daughter, Elenia, and their two sons, 26-year-old Dominic and 22-year-old Johnny. Victor Charles's first important influence in his life was his grandmother, Myrtle Glass Keller, who was born in 1887 in Canada. In 1910, she was married to Carl Keller, and he worked in a bottling brewery in the state of Washington. They lived at 4408 31st Avenue, and his wife Myrtle Glass and he had 3 children. Daughter Sylvia was 6 years old, son Carl Jr. was 3 years old, and the youngest daughter was Myrtle Bell at only 6 months old. When Myrtle Glass Keller was 18 years old, she was an actress in the Orpheum circuit in the state of Washington. The Orpheum circuit first opened in 1886 at the Orpheum Opera House in San Francisco. Later on, there was a vaudeville chain of theaters in many locations from Chicago to the Pacific Coast. It's a pity that we don't have any theatrical photos of her standing on an Orpheum circuit stage. In 1940, she was living in San Diego, California, and was married to Pete Baldovich, who was 56 years old, and she was 53 years old, and they had their daughter, Mary Jane Baldovich, who was 16 years old, living with them. When I was growing up in the early 1950s, my two sisters, Teresa, Renee, and I always called great-grandmother Myrtle Glass Keller Boltovich Granny Grunts. I haven't a clue where the nickname came from, and until her very last days, she was always our Granny Grunts. Throughout Granny Grant's life, she had superb diction of the English language and would recite by memory very long poems and stories to us. I'm confident that she taught Victor Charles those same important creative disciplines by forging his mind and diction to become a world-class Shakespearean actor.